Hi, my name's Rob Penrod. I'm recently retired from Villara Building Systems. I'd worked there for almost 30 years, and I still do some part-time consulting for them. I got into the construction industry in a little bit different way than most. I went to college, got a degree in mechanical engineering at Berkeley, and went to work for a large engineering firm and construction company in San Francisco, and got to move around a bit with them and got on construction sites. And that's when I started getting the urge to get into the construction side versus the engineering side, which is at a desk making plans and so on. And I got to see the difference between what works on paper versus what really works out in the field. So after a few years, I've had an opportunity to buy a business back down in the Sacramento area and started my own heating and air conditioning company, and focused on commercial and large custom home business, and built that company for almost 10 years, and then had an opportunity to join Villara. They were Butler at that time. They wanted to expand into those markets, the commercial and custom fields. So I went to work for them, built their new division, then was promoted to chief estimator and then chief engineer, and then finally vice president, and took on responsibility for sales and customer relations on top of all the engineering and mechanical design. But while I had my own company, I had to do the actual work. I became the equivalent of a journeyman installer during that time. And I really like that. I like working with my hands, always have. So a different path, very successful for me. I loved it. Retired very happily, and like I say, still consult, so I stay in the business. What I like best about this business, well, there's two things I like. One, seeing a complete job is very satisfying. When you walk away from a job that you've completed and it looks good and it's right, that's a very gratifying experience. And then the other is the people I've met throughout the year, all very good friends. And then just a couple quick stories of people in the business and what can happen to anyone who joins this business. Is one who worked for me and one who I worked for. A kid at the time that worked for me, very good, hard worker, got into a little trouble and had to spend a little time in jail for a couple months. He begged to have the job, there when he got back, and we kept it for him. And he is now chief estimator at Villara. He's worked hard on his communication skills, his math skills, and just a true success story of starting from the ground up. Great guy, people love him, and just worked hard to get there. The other is my former and still boss in some ways, who is now president and CEO of Villara, which is a very large company. Started literally sweeping the warehouse floors as a kid right out of high school, and went through the journeyman, became an estimator, and eventually president and now CEO of a company that employs 1,000 people. So one of the best success stories I've ever seen, and he was a great man to work for. So those are the possibilities in our industry, and I would highly encourage anyone considering it to jump in. There's plenty of opportunity out there.